Oh, here we go.
Okay, we're live, guys. So welcome to the Demon Haunted Playground. That's my channel. Occasionally I have conversations with people from the objective personality community. We talk about things related to objective personality. And today we're having a conversation about SF play. Two of our people are actually late, so that's going to be fun here. So the point of this is to just get a better understanding of what SF play is by just talking with some other people. All of us have been typed in the system with SF play somewhere in our animal stack. We have some people first, second, third, and fourth here. So let's just get into introductions. I was actually going to go to Uzair first because he's played last, but he is not here yet. So let's just start with Jana. Here,
hi,
right next to me here.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jana. I'm audio, FESE, play bass, consume, sleep last. I was typed in November with Shan on a typing call. And this is actually my first video I felt comfortable doing with anybody. With that sleep last, it's taken me a long time to process a lot. So I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate having you. Nora, would you like to go next?
Okay, hi, my name is Nora. FTTI, Consume Sleep Play Blast, and I'm double masculine, and I was typed in July 2018. And yeah, I've been in and out of the classes, but I'm back.
Nice to have you. Michelle, would you go next?
So I am audio, SETI, consume, sleep, play blast. I was typed in February of 2020. Yes.
Samuel?
All right, cool. They call me Samuel, obviously. Audio, you can see my type there, and I found out my type in December through the original typing method, and here I am. So let's get to it.
Okay, Rob.
Hey, I'm Rob. Double feminine, FESE, play, consume, sleep, blast. I was typed last May. It's actually coming up on my 1-year anniversary next Thursday. From that, was typed via a call with Shannon.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Dave, we're doing introductions now, so this is perfect. Go ahead.
Oh shit, we've already started, huh?
We just started. we weren't waiting for you, man. Play. Gotta play.
My bad. Okay.
You're cool. This is Dave. You want to introduce yourself, Dave?
Oh, do I do
Just
it?
say hi or whatever.
Yeah, what's your type
Yeah.
whenever you typed?
Yeah, I'm Dave. I'm a MFTISC, consume, play, sleep, blast, and I was typed 2 years ago by Dave and Shan, and I've been involved with the personality stuff for not that long, maybe 3 years now or so.
Cool. And we're just waiting on Uzair to get here. So I'll just say I'm right at my 1-year anniversary of being typed. So it's kind of cool. Audio, NIFE, yeah, sleep blast. So yeah, let's just get into some definitions of what is SF play. I mean, the goal is to just get a better understanding of what it is, basically. And these wonderful people here, joined me to talk about this. So let's let me try to share some stuff on the screen real quick. Share screen. Sorry, this is kind of awkward, but we'll deal with it. Here we go. And of course, I have the wrong one on the screen. Okay. Dave and Shan are working like checklists now. They don't really have the definitions locked down these days. So, sorry, Uzair is here. I'm trying to add him to the stream. Uzair, hi. Nice, fashionably late there. We're just talking about some definitions real quick.
Hey, man.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm being awkward. Yeah, so Dave and Shan don't have like solid definitions on like what SE is, what FE is. It's a combination of OE and sensing is what they have now. So OE is channel changing, no shame in changing the subject and not concluding. Sensory is proving, no shame in being clear, showing the data and staying grounded. And then FE is DE plus F, frog in pocket, no shame in talking about others and not calling out self. Vibe is feeling, no shame in not doing the thing so we can just feel good. Not a big fan of that part of it, but so play is together, no shame in forcing others to do it with them, and SF is values, values things in the physical. So what do you all think of those definitions here? Let me stop sharing the screen for a minute here. We can chat about that. You guys all agree with those definitions? Does that make sense, or
Well,
what do you guys think about that stuff?
You're like, they don't have solid definitions, but I mean, they
They're
do
like
have.
tweaking them all the time, though, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's sensory descriptions of an abstract pattern, so you can never like really describe it, right?
Right.
So you can only do like the best you can. So, I mean, especially if you're just gonna write it in one sentence.
Yeah.
That's kind of my perspective on definitions in general, but I see FE as like trying to build an awareness of the tribe values. So they're asking people what they care about and trying to see what other people care about and how they can kind of build a consensus that way, right?
Yeah.
So,
anyone else have anything to say?
Yeah, I think it's similar to what Rob said. It's kind of hard to narrow it down to one thing. So in a way, yeah, that is basically the crux of it, because I kind of see it like, okay, if the play was a sword, everyone's going to use it for different things depending on your type. But fundamentally, I guess as it comes from Dave and Shan, and they use heavily a lot of NI, that is like the best way you can explain it. But then you have to go into it and kind of feel what it actually is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think the FE is like more about the connectedness with people. It's kind of like what way can you find the connectedness? And I think when it's like with the SE, is like when I see it, I can see like the spectrum of like, okay, this is what someone's interested in, and I want to connect with them. So then I can take both like, okay, what are they interested in, and do it that way. Because I feel like sometimes with me, I feel like I could talk to like almost anybody, because I could find something out with the SE and then talk to them about it. So that's kind of how I see it.
So like more the human needs side of things, you guys buy into the human needs connected to the functions and stuff? So like FE, like connection, like.
Oh yeah, I think so, totally. Because I know I've talked to something like Samuel and I've talked a little bit, or I've talked to Ian, and it's kind of like with the decider part, it is about the connectedness. That's going to be the first thing with me is the FE, is to see that as opposed to the SE spectrum. So I think the human needs really do have a big part to play in it.
And then SE, like the variety side of it.
Yeah,
well, I agree.
Something that like had me thinking about it because Jana and Rob are the FE-SE version, I'm the SE-FE. I was like thinking, okay, so we're both doing the same style of thing, but what am I focusing on? And when she goes, okay, I'm seeing what people are interested, I kind of do that. But for me, it's like, I guess being an observer, it's like, what things are people going to be kind of interested in? Like for me, example, I'm a personal trainer. So then when I'm talking to clients and trying to get them to increase their adherence, I'm kind of like, okay, you see this exercise? This is why you're going to want to do this exercise, because it's going to make you look nice in this particular way. And I can see that I get more focused on the exercise and how it's going to benefit them. So then it makes me wonder if someone like Jana and Rob, how are you going to slightly do it? Because I'm still talking about something valuable and I'm trying to sell it to the client. But for their case, I'm just wondering what the nuances would be.
I don't know, because like for me, when I think about like organizing a group of students, like I'll be like, hey, let's do this anime club. You guys like anime? All teens seem to love anime these days. And I don't know. I think that for me, I'm thinking, what is the long-term effect on the FE? We're all going to bond as a group over this thing, and they're going to know me as a teacher in sort of a different setting, and perhaps our dynamic will be better. So that's how I'm thinking about it. But I am still thinking variety, because the anime club ended up being like a club about everything. Like we watched anything and everything, but I was like, let's still call it anime club so that the SF is there and like people still come to it. And then I'll let them know they're going to watch whatever I want to watch sometimes. But yeah, that ended up being a bit too DI.
So good. So good.
So
like,
is like like when I watch somebody like The Rock or Kevin Hart, or it seems like they're using the connections, like they're moving people's chemicals to get an experience, like they're like trying to gather a fun time, like a fun experience by being funny and fun, telling stories and making people laugh. And is that part of it? Do you think, like the SF play? Like, I'm interested in giving other people a fun time, and I want a fun time. So let me.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, because I'm using my own experience of it, because I think I'm even a similar type to Kevin Hart. I can't remember, but I'm gonna use my experience that when I'm engaging with people, and I've got a client who's kind of feeling that down, I try and start talking about stuff that they're kind of interested in, or things that are gonna kind of compliment them to make them feel better. So yeah, it is tactically looking at what people like and using that as leverage to get them into a good state of mind. And I guess that's how I see it. So it reminds me of the latest video that Dave and Shannon were talking about FE, and they're saying like FIs don't like FEs to manipulate their feelings. And when I thought about it more, it's like, yeah, literally that is what FE is doing on one aspect of it, I would say, because I know there's more parts to it.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I think of it as like being expressive so that others will be expressive. Like I'm trying to like pull that out of them so I know what they care about, right? Because if everyone's just sitting there, not saying anything, not expressing any emotion about anything, I don't know what they care about. Like, is this working? Like, do you guys like this? Like, what's going on? So I definitely see that as something that I'm trying to do in being more expressive and joking around with people, trying to see what they're caring about, so I can relate to them and figure out what sort of problems they have that I can then go try and figure out.
Yeah. Uzair, you want to chime in? You can say hi. We haven't had your introduction.
Sorry, had some technical difficulties.
It's okay.
So so the question is like, where you see SF play in?
Yeah, tell us about your SF play a little bit, I guess. How do you see it?
Well, I have it last. So where do I see it? I don't know. I'm kind of listening in on you guys and trying to see like what I think one thing what it is that what play is in general is just that it's kind of like an open-minded engagement of like, oh, let's just see where this goes. And I like being in that state. I'm just probably don't dive into it as much as you guys do. Yeah, and I guess like before this this call, I was thinking about like what I was actually just watching a video of Mark Cuban, who is FENI, like Blast Play, and another one with Gary V, who is SEFE, as you know, and not actually just to prep for this interview. I was just like trying to learn about like cryptocurrencies and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's funny. Like I'm like learning about this stuff from like
People
like two like SF play people, right? Even though it's like not an SF, it's not. It sounds like an NT topic, but it's just like the way that they've like gone around and gathered like, oh what's going on, and what do people like, and where are like the sentiments of the tribe like gathering around. That just happens to be like oftentimes like very kind of cutting edge stuff, and so I think like kind of being open minded and kind of like doing a broad survey of what's going on, what people like, really kind of gets like some kind of insights that. Of what's going on. So I think that I look to the SF plays for that.
That's pretty good. Michelle, do you want to chime in with anything?
What was the question again?
I guess just how are you seeing your SF play?
So I very much relate to looking at things in the environment. So like I'm a therapist and I work in people's apartments. So usually to build rapport, I'll look in their environment, kind of paintings they have up, the type of decorations, colors, and I try to tie that into my conversation to build rapport, is seeing what they value in their environment and then opening up and talking about that in that sense. So I feel like how I use my SF play.
Right. Yeah, I don't do that very well. Having the SE at the bottom, like I'm never paying any attention to the sensory stuff. I see that I need to do that to be able to do play better, but that's really good that you're doing that. That's hard for me, for sure. Dave, do you want to jump in with anything?
Yeah, I'll try. I think most people have mentioned, I think 90% of it. I think the way it looks for me is that, I guess in a group setting when you're with other people, yeah, you're trying to keep things lighthearted for the most part, if that's appropriate. Trying to make things funny, trying to make sure everyone's included, trying to make sure everyone's having fun. And so I think you're kind of gauging that, right? I think you're using FE to gauge how everyone's mood is in, and also kind of gauging like what is fun for this person, or what kind of humor does this person have, or what does this person like to do? Are they a little more introverted, so I have to pull them into the group? Are they more extroverted, so I have to divert the attention from them a bit? Like, and so I feel like you're gauging that with the FE, and then you're using the SE to like accomplish that, like depending on the words you say, depending on the vibe that you're putting out, all that stuff. So I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of group management in a way, sort of. Other than that, what is SEFE play show? I think, well, you said this one time, Kevin. I thought this was such a cool statement, and actually makes sense. But you see, you can see coolness on the spectrum. Like that's SEFE, right? You can see like what's cool or what's like popular or what's not cool, like very easily. I think. I'm not like an expert on that, but I feel like I'm pretty good at like seeing what's valuable, at least in what's in front of me.
It's more like seeing what other people are valuing. Like it's not really necessarily me. I mean, I might value that same thing or not, but yeah, being aware of that. You know, like people hate this thing over here. They like this thing. They rank things. Just being aware of that a lot.
Do you have like from all of those rankings? Do you have like, okay, this is the thing that usually people value, or this is where I see people valuing the most?
Yeah.
Like yeah. I feel like I'm seeing that too a bit, although I think you would probably have an easier time than me, but I feel like, yeah, I don't feel like I have a lot of deficits there, I guess. Yeah.
I see that where I've been trying to see it in myself, because I have play second, but I thought I had it last. And so I'm like, okay, where am I doing all this play? Because I'm not seeing it. But so now lately I've been trying to catch it when I'm doing it. And I'll see that I'm paying attention to the things people are saying, and then looking for an opportunity to like use that to like make them laugh or say something funny. I've been seeing myself actually doing that a lot. Like that must be my thing, I guess, or whatever. Like how can I tie in what they were just talking about a couple of minutes ago to the current situation and make people laugh a little bit? Or I can see if the vibe is off, and like, oh, I could say something right here that I know this group will laugh at or whatever. Yeah. I'm constantly trying to think of that. It's like just on automatic. Like
yeah, I can see you doing that even in our little quadrant.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Like you're saving us all the time. Yeah.
I don't know about all that, but it's like you see where the chemicals are, like the vibe, and you're like, okay, it's a little bit off. Let me do something. I don't know. It's like I'm responsible to do it.
It's like glue, but it's also a catalyst at the same time. It's like if something's not happening, let's make it happen. If something's being torn apart, let's keep it together. That's what I think SF can be as well.
Guys, I got a question about FE, something that I was thinking about a while. So let me try and do this right and not channel change like crazy. But so look, fundamentally, I think in this world, everything is kind of meant to be a bit of balance of everything. Even the whole way OP is based about is you have unbalances that you need to balance. So I was thinking about, okay, FE is a function that's used by us human beings because it's needed to survive. So like in a tribal sense of like in the primitive times, you know how FE helps the tribe. But then I think about, okay, so then how does FE sort of help the individual? And so I would go, okay, so for me, being obviously I'm going to speak in my functions, I'm sleep last. I'm like, I kind of don't know what I want to do or what kind of works for me. So then I go, okay, by me gathering so much of what everyone likes, I can kind of see what's going to be, I'm like looking out to look in. So then I think like, okay, that means FE for other people is about making them feel good, but also at the same time, because I've gathered so much of what everyone likes, I can also help other people on my DE side to find out what they like, but also then for me to use what is going to kind of keep my life together so it doesn't kind of fall apart. So that was me trying to say, like, what do you think about FE being used not only for people, but then for yourself? Like, how do you see that? If that makes sense.
I mean, I think I got what you were saying. It's so you're by starting with FE first, you're kind of figuring out what people value, and then like where you can provide value by like becoming specialized in something. So you're like TIing afterwards to figure stuff out, right?
Yeah, no, not so. Let me see. I might be saying it again. So
that's how I see it.
There's an FE to help people, but then also your functions help you as well. Does it make sense? So I'm like, do you see the side where how FE is going to benefit the individual?
I don't know if I'm following. Anyone else?
Are you saying the individual as ourselves or the other?
Yourself. Yeah, because I think it's good to see how the function helps those and yourself, because you've got to balance yourself. So I guess for me, like, to find out what I need to do in my life, I see what people value, and then I kind of think, well, we're all kind of human beings, so fundamentally we all like and want the same thing: eat, live, have a good life. And then if I see kind of what works for other people, then I can kind of tweak it for me. So that was in my head, seeing how I use the FE for myself.
I guess I can kind of relate to that, because I was thinking about being demon, feminine FE, and having masculine savers, as I can be really rigid in my thinking and my processing. And sometimes just getting into that play and kind of doing the brainstorming, engaging with other people, kind of breaks my personal patterns and allows me to consume the tribe and what the tribe values, if I'm getting from what you're saying. And that helps me break my rigid thinking and try out different things and just engage in what that tribe actually values and see if it does fit into my DI somehow. That makes sense.
Yeah, I guess, that's basically it, because then by you doing that, it's going to make you kind of a more balanced person, so to speak, and not too strong in your TI.
Also, with like what you were saying, Michelle, I feel like it can make you feel more fulfilled as a person. If you are super DI and then go and do the FE, you're balancing yourself, and you're also being useful to other people in the community and the tribe, and you're realizing, oh right, yeah, my life isn't all about me. It should be about, serving others or doing something for others, and that makes me feel good. And I guess it is still about me, but I don't know. Yeah.
I think with me, what I use FE for is, well, to connect with other people, but then I really just want to establish a vibe with people. Like, you get that vibe established, and then it kind of makes that real connection. Like, I'd like to talk about things about my DI and stuff, but I'm not going to unless I'm like, the vibe is good with somebody and I feel like I can do that. So I think that's where I'm kind of going to, that's how it benefits me, is where, okay, who are the people that I can really actually, be who I really am with, and not just being that FE part. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. But it can be hard because, the FE can be, people like the FE, and then I can, like I said, I can get someone to talk about almost anyone to talk. So I get people talking, but then they talk, and then I never talk. So I get people to do that. But so I have to, that's my EJ syndrome too. So like working on that to be like, oh, okay, I want to connect people like that. But then it's like, hey, I really want to connect with people who are interested in what I think and what I feel and stuff.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah, I want to connect so that I can talk about my DI. It's like,
yep.
I want to use the play to like get something going. Like, okay, now we're friends. Now let me talk about me, and back and forth. But I like to NT, like, talk about the stuff I'm trying to sleep process. Go, I'm working on this and working on that. Well, because SE is going to be hard for me, so I'd rather just get past the play part so I can, maybe blast, sleep talk basically is fun for me, but it's hard to get there with people.
No, I get you. Well, then, what about you guys? Like, Dave, what do you think about it?
About what specifically? Sorry.
How you use FE for yourself, like to balance yourself.
I think FE is what allows you to have connection to other people. So it's like for my social life, so that I have friends and I have people. And I think it's also healthy for me, and I feel better about myself and more fulfilled when I am like actively, but I feel like I'm caring for people, or I feel like I'm like giving a shit, and I feel like I'm, being a good person and stuff like that. So I know FE is not necessarily being a good person, but like keeping other people in mind, I think, I think that's really fulfilling, and there's a lot of satisfaction that comes from that. And so, I think it keeps me sane to some degree, usually with things related to the social spectrum.
Cool. Yeah, kind of interesting also to see the nuances of the observer and decider aspect of how we all use it, because from what I'm kind of beginning to see, like all the some of the decider stuff is like it's more people, and then I guess for me having it in the middle, I probably don't see FE as pure as like someone who doesn't have it who has it as a demon. So to me, it's like kind of a no-brainer, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not using it to connect to people because I kind of feel like that just happens as a natural default. But then I'm using to see what other people like, again, observer, to help me sort out my sleep last and prioritize my life.
Yeah, the FE is probably a lot more manual for me. Like I have to consciously, like, oh, I should do this function now. It doesn't come automatically. If it did come automatically, then that would be more double deciding land, I guess. But
yeah. Who's there? Got something to add there? About your FE, I guess.
About my FE. I mean, I think that I'm trying to see like I'm always like all the questions that are being answered. Can you guys hear me? Are there?
Yeah. Right. Pretty good.
So I definitely do notice. I do use it in the sense of like if I'm trying to like convince someone of something, or like I think whenever, I don't know, it's a difficult question, right? Because it's just like anything that I'm saying, I'm like, I'm sure everybody does that, right? But it like I think you want to get a sense of like what moves a person, right? Like and so like that kind of like, if you're trying to convince them of something, or if you're trying to like there's always like an aspect of like catering to the audience that's specifically ahead of you, in front of you, right? I think that's probably an aspect of FE, right? It's like I'm not I think maybe the flip side of that would be the FI of like, oh, I'm like bringing something that I care about, and I'm trying to get people excited about that. And the flip side of that is, oh, what is this person excited about, and what kind of like moves them, and then let's work around that, I'd probably see it like in that area. Yeah.
I was gonna say one more thing. Is that okay?
Yeah. No.
So when I think about like motivating someone to do something, or getting them on board with a plan, or even getting them to do something they don't really like, you just have to shortcut through feelings to get them to do something that's maybe more challenging for them, whether it's a task, a test, reading a book. It's I don't know, I find that with teaching teenagers in particular, you have to just figure out what they love, what they want, and how you can incorporate that into
manipulate them.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, right.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Move their chemicals, basically. Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's say influence, gently influence.
There you go.
Motivate.
That's better, right?
Motivate.
Motivate.
That's a better word for it. Yeah.
That's a good topic. Me and Kat joke about this, that this manipulation thing. I'm like, it's not manipulation, it's empathy. And like this manipulation thing is thrown at the FEs a little bit, right? From the FIs. What is? And I'll tell you my personal take on it is I'm sure there's like some manipulation, but I think I have a high threshold of what I consider to be manipulation. To me, manipulation is if you're outright lying to someone and trying to get them to believe something that's not true, right?
Right.
But just like trying to like engage with them in a way that you find would move them. To me, that's just like kind of persuasive. What are your guys' thoughts in terms of like manipulation versus persuasion and empathy, etc.?
Well, I guess for me being like masculine century, I was like, okay, let me just like get the definition. And one of the definitions is handle or control in a skillful manner. So fundamentally, like we can go anywhere we want with it, but I guess manipulate does sound very like negative about it. But fundamentally, like the truth is that's what you are doing, but you just got to put it in a nicer way. So I guess in my head, people are not so repulsed by it. Like manipulating, trying to control me? No. Who wants that?
Yeah, I mean, people can be in a state where if they weren't in that state, they'd actually want to do the thing. So if they're like in some negative state and you can say some things and get them out of that and then get them to do the thing, they would probably want you to do that if, so. Yeah,
I think, you're right. Then it depends on like, we all have the SF play and it depends on the person. So it's like, okay, I've got this gun. I can use it to save lives or I can use it to take lives. And it just depends on the actual individual and what you're using it for. Because like what Nora said, I notice it now because at OP that when I've got a certain client and I'm trying to motivate them, I start NF blasting and then it's just all about value and the future and like what you could be and like you need to do it now so you can get there. So, and it's all within a good intention. But then at the same time now I think, if you master that, you could use it in a very vindictive way with other people.
Totally, yeah.
I feel like that kind of thing is more NI-esque because for me, I see it as negotiation and selling something. Let me sell you this project that you're going to do. Let me sell you why you should finish your work in the next 10 minutes. It's like I negotiate and try and use that sort of manipulation thing, but to me it's not manipulation because I'm sort of letting them know that this is something I need them to do for themselves, but also for me. And like I'm using the thing that they like in a very esky clear way. I don't think I'm Darren Browning anyone, I'm not capable of that. I'm aware of that. So yeah.
Well, again, no, I agree with you 100%. I guess with me, it's not that I'm trying to NF blast them because like when I'm selling the like personal training package or the online coaching or something like that, I just start talking about future stuff, but I guess they're kind of interlinked naturally because they want this, you have to do this, but then I think I try and sell that value, and I guess that's what pulls them along.
You're dealing with adults, right?
Sorry?
Are you dealing more with adults and stuff?
It's adults.
So I think that makes more sense when like the older someone is and the more they can sort of see the value in the future, whereas sometimes if you are dealing with people who are only living in the now, it's like, great, I live in the now too. Let's connect there and let's make the now good and valuable in SF and let's get through. And over time, they will see that the things that they do like build up to something. And I try to use NF to be like, remember that thing that we did relates to the thing we're doing now, and we're doing that next week, or just to see them building on something as well. But that's just not. I'm veering away from SF. I guess I'll bring it back to that.
Well, go
sorry.
ahead, Michelle. No, go.
I was going to say that I typically use like SF play, if I want to define it, as consuming, getting information from the tribe because I'm double masculine consume. So I take in a lot of information for myself, but I use that SF play to, let me throw this at you. What about this? What about that? What about this? And then from that, I can start consuming about that person and what they value, which goes back to what Sam and Nora was saying with the NI and narrowing down to try to explain the value of the thing that I'm trying to educate the person on. So that's my form of consume with the tribe, is to play with them. Then I can get to my blast.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, both functions, FE and SE, are taking in, right? So, I mean, there's going to be a side to play, right? That's just passive, right? I mean, observing, gathering, like, the vibe, gathering.
We're doing that now.
This sense. Yeah. So, let's actually throw some questions up here from the live chat, you guys, if that's cool with everyone.
No, it's not cool, man.
It's SF cool, man. Kat said SF play is the most flirty kind of play. What do you guys think? Are you guys all big flirts or?
Michelle.
Oh, no.
Oh, Kevin.
I'm sure some of you. I think Dave's a flirt, right?
I mean,
No.
Honestly don't know what flirting is. Like, you just say like provocative stuff to somebody about their appearance. I don't really do that. I don't know. I'm not like a flirter, but like I don't know. Maybe flirting is just being playful with someone. In that case, yeah. But like I don't know what flirting is, so that probably means I'm not very good at it. I would guess.
It's a chemistry thing, isn't it?
It could be like the look that you're giving someone, the smile, your body posture, posture and stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think I know what I'm doing there, to be honest.
Now that he's in Germany, he's even more ST. So
It's had an influence.
Germany, yeah. Very ST over there, I'm sure.
Very.
Well, I guess I think I can understand. I'm going to try and understand what she means by like flirty, because if you think about it, the SC, you're in the moment, and then you're paying attention to their feelings in the moment. And I'm just going to use an example from my experience, even though it's not flirting, but it's just to get this point across, that when I'm teaching a group class, and I've got multiple people in front of me, I begin to notice that I start pinging off everyone and like seeing how they feel about it and trying to make them happy in the class. So I guess then probably in the flirting sensation side, you're going to pick up on all the nuances if there's an attraction between you, and it's going to feel like you're like very responsive to that. That's the flirty side. I can see it, because at the end of the day, I think the flirty nature is going to depend on the two people and if they're even attracted to each other. Because not to say I'm a Casanova or anything like that, but I don't mean it like that.
We see it.
I've been told like,
anytime you have to give a little
disclaimer there, yeah.
not a Casanova, but
no. Anyway, but what I meant was like, in my PT world, and I'm always talking and engaging with people, and I suppose I get good at eliciting the emotion. Some people will go, oh, yeah, he can definitely flirt because I'm good at like sparking that some type of interest. This is just me trying to suss out what she meant. Okay.
Yeah.
You got me there good, Uzair.
Well, I think Emily also asked for examples. Does anyone?
I think you're also lasting me into getting personal training.
There you go.
Your best
Sign up today.
Yeah, it sounds
Let's
fun.
do it.
It's like hot and sweaty and flirty.
Emily wanted examples of SF play or like flirty.
Flirting. I think she said that. Did you say that?
Does she want us to flirt with her right now?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Somebody's supposed to pick up before you on here apparently. So that's the challenge.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm married. I'm not flirting.
Hey, I'm saying this so one of y'all will do it. That's like...
Trying to flirt now. Good.
I mean, I can talk about when I met my wife. We met in a bar. I was singing karaoke, and I spotted her with her friends in the corner, and she was like looking at me, and I was looking at her, and she was smiling, and she came up and talked to me. I mean, I did a little flirt. I mean, just by looking and showing that I was interested, but.
Gave it the look, and you were singing well, apparently, or else
I sang okay, I guess. I like singing. Maybe that's some SF play too. I don't know, but
I think that's Blast. That's NF Blast.
You literally seduced your wife with your karaoke skills. I'd say that's
mad skills. Yeah.
you Blast played seduce your wife.
Yeah. Oh, it worked.
Did anyone talk that? I don't know.
I know, right? Well, we got some questions for people. Let's address a few stereotypes first, you guys. Somebody says you're tracking other people's nonverbals. I guess with the SE, you're like seeing like expressions on people's face and body posture and whatever. Is that something you guys see that you're tracking?
I'll go first as the feminine sensor. I feel like I'm actually pretty bad at that, but you guys can talk then.
Wait, so how do you know if you do that more than other people? I think that's
a good question.
Because everyone does that to some degree. How do you know that you're into it more than other people?
Well, everybody here is savior sensor except for me and Uzair. So I don't track that stuff. It's like I'll see it every now and then, and I'm like, oh yeah, people are tracking this. You know, like I'm not really thinking about that. But
are you tracking like tone of? Sorry, Nora. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, how do you think the Savior NIs, like the Darren Browns and the Kevin's of the world and the Uzairs of the world, like manipulate the tribe if they're not tracking the sensory?
I mean, you have to focus on doing it, like tracking the sensory. Like, it's not natural for me to track the sensory. I have to, like, okay, now I'm tracking it and, like, pay attention. But it takes effort for sure. And it drains you, for me. I mean, to pay attention to sensory, like talk about sensory. Like if we were having a conversation about ranking automobiles, sports players, and I would just be drained like so fast. It's like, I don't want to think about that stuff. I can, and I can push myself to do it, but the sensory just drains me like crazy.
So what are you tracking then with NI if you're not tracking like facial stuff? Like if you're with somebody and you're in play mode, what are you looking at?
Yeah, probably the sound of their voice, the audio kind of stuff. Maybe I'm looking at that person specifically that I'm with, and I am keeping track of the vibe of the room, like the people around, the sounds. But I'm like, after I leave that place and you're like, oh, tell me what color was this person wearing? I don't know any of that sensory details. I take in enough to see the pattern and understand the pattern, and then I just throw out all the sensory because I don't need it. I'll remember it because it's masculine. I'll remember some stuff, but not most of it. I'm just trying to understand. I take it in to get the understanding, and then I don't need it.
Yeah,
the goal is to understand. Yeah.
Sorry, Uzair. I think I cut you off.
Uzair. Go ahead, Uzair.
Oh, I don't know what I was saying. I think I was saying that I would have interpreted that question just being like, are you just looking at the person's face and tracking that sensory?
I'm not.
You're not doing that? Okay.
Not much. I have to like think about it, consciously do it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe with NI you're like tracking patterns then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've seen this person.
Yeah, I've seen it 100 times. I don't have to focus on the sensory. Yeah.
You don't have to, yeah.
So I know, like, I don't really focus on the sensory, and that's why I didn't think I was Saber sensory, because like I know people for years and I don't even remember what eye color they have. Yeah. So I mean, my masculine SE comes out in other ways, but the thing is I'm so in tune with somebody if I'm in person, or even people like I met through OP that I haven't actually met in person. It's like I get an attunement to their emotional state and I connect with that. And I can it sounds so NFE, but it's like I can feel when things change, if something's off, or I can see in the group, like in the Facebook groups, or talking to people online, like I can pick up things like that. And it's probably some sensory, but I mean, like not if I'm talking to someone in like the Facebook groups, but it's like, doesn't seem like I pick up the sensory with people, but I just have a big attunement with the FE with people.
Yeah, I think it's kind of overstated with SE on how much data we're taking in. And like I can relate to what you said, Kevin, about not remembering colors and all that. Like I don't remember any of that shit either. Or like in a movie, I'll literally go watch a movie. You can ask me about the movie 10 minutes later and I won't be able to tell you anything about it. Like I can tell you if I liked it or not and like what genre it was maybe, but like I don't, because I think your DI is directing what sensory you're taking in. And my DI doesn't make any sense to remember some of these like shirt color or whatever. Like it's not. But if you get me on something that I think is important, then every detail is like memorized. But most things I'm just blissfully unaware, even though I'm like Savior masculine SE. I think that's probably something that should be stated, I guess.
Yeah. I think memory.
Go ahead, Uzair.
Oh, I was going to say, I think memory is tied to like the masculine functions. I relate to that. I won't remember a bunch of things, but then I'll remember I remember what I thought and then what I saw. So then like, I wouldn't remember anybody's shirts, but I would remember yours, Jana, because it looks like, do you have green eyes? Because it matches with your shirt. And I was like, oh, and I thought that when you said that. And so I'll probably remember that,
Thank you, Uzair.
There's some flirting, guys, right? Or not.
It's play.
I'm not judging. Okay.
It's play.
No, that's the thing.
It's
Play. That's the thing. I guess I didn't jump into the flirting part, but so many people
SF play is flirting. We already went over that.
People misinterpret it to be flirting too much. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Rob, do you want to answer a question?
Question directed at me. Oh my. Direct.
Well,
I wrote in our little private chat here that I guess I I feel like I'm somewhat similar to you, almost, Kevin. Whether it's like this blurred image, I'm not really focusing on the subtleties as much. So if like Uzair seemed like he was vibing differently in this group than in previous groups I've seen him in, I'd be like, oh, is something off with him? Like I don't know what's going on, but so I might start to guess a little bit over there, but that's kind of what I'm seeing, where it's more blurred.
Can you guys compare these? The double masculine versus double.
Which one of us has
feminine?
double masculine play?
Nora
Oh,
and Rob has double feminine.
I mean, Ron has Savior SF, and mine's
Yeah.
sort of a demon. It's a hobby. So for me, I'm just not doing it all the time. Like I'm doing it for a reason, like whether it's to control the tribe or, it's usually to like do the teaching that I'm doing every 5 days a week. Whereas I think with Rob, like, is that where you live? Is that just like everything you do is FESE?
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I'm just like I'm like recently I've been like compulsively like checking different sort of like social media things, like what's going on in Discord, what's going on in the Facebook group, what's going on in Reddit, Twitter. Just try. I think of like my play is very receptive, so like I thought that was like consume, but I'm really just like consuming what people are valuing. So it's really just like trying to see like, oh, these people are into this. I gotta like make sure I'm up to date on that stuff and understand what the patterns are underneath, I guess. Because to understand those trends, I need to feel like I am up to date on the latest information. That's kind of how I think about it.
And the double feminine side to it, what do you, if you compare yourself to Gary Vee, for example?
Well, it's like I'm not remembering the specific things so much as like, so that's how I'm seeing it. Like I'll just kind of grabbing this, grabbing that. Okay, and I'm building the NI. But compared to Gary Vee, it is like I see him saying like this is the thing that's valuable right now. Like he's really trying to like bring things together and like snap it and be like this thing. Where I'm just like, okay, everybody kind of it's all spread apart. I can't really like unify it as well. I can unify it maybe in like the moment, but I don't feel as confident declaring something. And maybe that's like NI related too, but because he's higher blast, I
could also
think.
be blast.
Yeah.
Blast.
Well,
So, it's hard to piece it all completely separately, but hopefully I sort of answered the question.
Yeah, I think just to cover my side of the question with the double masculine play, I think I'm just, I guess, punchy with the tribe, and when I state my feelings or when I'm trying to move the feelings, it can be a bit clunky. Sorry, like just I won't really be afraid to be like include the tribe or be a part of the tribe. Although I'm not doing that. For sake, I'm not like interested in doing that so much. I'm pretty much more in my own world, but yeah.
So basically, I'm tickling the tribe and she's slapping them and seeing how they respond.
Oh my god.
Is it more direct, Nora? Or are you just like
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just like
because I see with
here we are. Let's get going. Like I'm very much like if I see Gary Vee, I cringe because I'm like I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
A little bit, not all the time, thank God. But maybe not, thank God. Maybe I should be Gary Vee. I don't know.
Right, yeah. Maybe do a little more of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing the masculine FE because it's like you guys seem to say the things that I would think to say, but I'm like, no, you can't say that. You have to like soften it and like deliver it a little bit easier. But you guys are just like boom. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to do that. But I
Yeah.
don't have permission to
Me
do
and
that.
Michelle are like really close in like we're basically the same type, but I feel like that's the difference between us, right? Like what do you think, Michelle? Like
Yeah, I definitely say you definitely have more of a confidence when you do come out and say certain things where it's like, this is what it is. And I'm like, oh,
I
let me
stick my
flip
foot
it a
in it.
little bit, soften it, you know.
Yeah, I like it. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's very masculine FE is very refreshing.
It is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
we should all just take permission to do more of it, right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
there's no rules telling us we can't, right?
Let's still
Yeah.
punch each other. It's Fight Club. Come on. What are the rules? Let's
There we
just
go.
start it.
There's a time and a place for both, isn't there? I mean, like, I know everyone's like the masculine DEs, but sometimes some people just can't take that emotional truth because that emotion is connected to so many other things. So that's where sometimes the feminine one, as much as it like goes round, and there are times even I don't like it when I notice myself doing it, but like sometimes you just have to be gentle with people, man.
100%. Like, I think that I noticed how masculine FE has harmed me more than it has like helped me. I really want to learn how to be more feminine with the FE, and just that would be a lifesaver in some situations.
Mhm.
That's a bit exaggerated, but anyway, feminine FE would be more like that would be helpful. Helpful.
Small sunshine and rainbows, though, I tell you that.
We need a dial on it where you can go masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know with me, it's like, because I'm the same type as Gary Vee, except he's double masculine. And I feel like I hardly relate to him because, you know, because the FE is first for both of us. So he's like pushy on the tribe. So I'm always like flowing and absorbing the tribe all the time. And so I think it makes a big difference. And sometimes though, like if I get the connectedness, my masculine SE will punch and be punchy that way. But I think it makes a huge difference. And most of the time I just kind of let things flow. I don't want to fight things. So it's just kind of good that way. But I don't know, I just kind of say like, I feel like I don't relate very much to Gary Vee because I think that first function just makes us so different.
Wow. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Having that first function masculine would seem like a completely different type almost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. We got a couple more stereotypes here. We're not going to hit everything here, but one of them is you're good at sales work, selling things, promoting things. Samuel, you kind of talked about that a little bit. You guys, anyone here good at sales? Because I suck at it. I'm terrible. Yeah.
I'm very bad at sales.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like naturally true because I was thinking about this, like, how should I explain this? You can have someone who naturally, like, let's say I could be an SE, I'm a play savior, and then you could have someone who's a play demon, but they actually use play better than I do because of some type of intellect that they have, but it just feels uncomfortable for them. Do you know what I mean? I could like be cool about using it, but I'm a complete idiot at how I sell. So I don't think that's necessarily true. It's just that I'm more comfortable using something that I'm not good at, even though it's a savior, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the fact that you're aware of that shows that if you were put in that situation,
That's pretty good, right?
And we're just told, hey, this is something you have to learn the product, learn this, you would then be more comfortable selling it, I think. But
Yeah,
being aware that you're not good at something is also, I think, very SF of you. Like,
yeah, no, you're right on that. And I guess in my side, it's just I have to do enough of the known information over and over and over and over again, and then I get better, to be honest. So yeah, I agree with you on that side.
Yeah, for me, it's like I don't know the sensory well enough. Like I would have to put in so much effort, you know? And it's like I don't even care to sell things to people. Like if they don't want it, I don't want to push it on them. You know, like if they want it, they'll go buy it. You know, it's like
yeah, but it's fun.
I see that I should be better at it, and I could if I wanted to, or could push myself to, but it's like I can't get there.
So yeah, I used to work in sales, and one of the things that, you know, they encourage you to do is overcoming objection. So if a customer says, hey, you know, I don't want to buy this thing, you know, you ask them, kindly ask, hey, well, what's your reason for not buying it? And then you can take that and then build off of it, because now you've got a piece of what they value.
Right.
And then you can try to frame what you're trying to sell around that, and then even find other products that might work for them. So, but I'm doing that all day. When I worked in sales, you know, I'm a therapist, so I'm trying to sell, hey, if you do this thing, you can be more independent. So it's a constant back and forth, and it's always a conversation. It's never me just directing, this is what you're going to do, but it's a, you know, it's a back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
And that's easier if you think they could actually get good value out of the thing. That's part of it too, I think.
Yeah.
If you're just selling somebody a car or something, it's like,
yeah,
get any car. But yeah,
I get how it makes sense in theory for SF play to be good at sales, because you are just like saying like, oh, what do you value about this? So you're like trying to have a conversation to understand what they value, and then you can take them to the thing that aligns with that, right, in the store or whatever. So like to sell a specific thing can be more difficult, where you're like, oh, I have this thing that does exactly this. Like I can see that you might not necessarily care about that, and then you might feel like you need to manipulate to convince them that it's something that they value, which I don't really like to do, but maybe Nora's into that with the masculine FE.
No.
Just kidding, Nora.
It's also blast. I think I'm a little bit more okay with that, especially with like what Michelle said about like,
okay,
if I'm convinced of something, I'm not that ashamed of trying to convince another person of it, you know. So because that's just what I think, and I'm not going to push it on you, but I will try to convince you, you know.
Yeah, I struggle with that though.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely like some blast in there for sales. It's not like pure SF, like maybe, or SF play. Like you can figure out what they care about, but then you need to narrow that down and direct them. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Dave? I think it's FE Blast because even like Chris Voss he's like the negotiator guy.
Yeah.
He's not talking about sales, but he's talking about taking a person from point A to point B, right? That's like FE Blast. In his case, it's SIFE Blast, but I think that's probably what it is. Dave,
you have any input on all this?
Dave, sell us on Germany.
Sell us. Yeah.
I think I could do that actually. If it's something I'm super excited about and know a lot about, I feel like I can usually convince people to get on board with it. But I couldn't do that if it was something that I didn't like, or I didn't like that. I can't fake the enthusiasm and all of that to get somebody to do something. Nor I would also feel bad for doing that too. I feel like it's like, if I don't like it, why do I think they should like it? You know, if I think this sucks, then I'm not going to try to get somebody to buy something that sucks. You know? So.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. And I also, I guess when I feel like I'm selling something, that is difficult. If it's like a salesperson context, okay, the goal is to convince this person to do this. I generally feel uncomfortable with that, but I don't feel uncomfortable expressing how much I think something is awesome. And then usually, or not usually, but sometimes people are convinced by that. But I'm not like trying to convince them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think if I were to try to direct that and use it in like a sales job, I'd probably fall flat on my face because it just would feel really unnatural and
I think that like with sales, it is a little bit like slimy, which is why I'm not like drawn to it. I'm more drawn to teaching because like, even though I see the rigidity of teaching and the rules and the structure and the fact that I'm like, hey, not every student needs to be here. They could be doing something else, or the fact we could be teaching them in a different way. So I do try to sell them on the thing, like the learning or the project, but I try to connect it to them so I don't feel like I'm like selling something that they don't want, but rather like, hey, you have to be here by law. Let's try and make this experience good for you. Let's also get you to learn something perhaps that will help you in the future, and also let's make you aware that you know that this is a structure, but I'm not forcing it on you. I'm trying to make it better for you. So I'm always like, I'm not the IJ, don't blame me. Like, I don't know.
Doesn't it like depend on what is being sold? Because like teaching, that's always needed like for humanity, whereas selling like, I don't know, a plant to someone, that's where like the more slimy sales might kind of come into it.
Yeah.
Did you say plant?
Yeah, or selling a product that just isn't worth
like plant and
like greenery.
Right. Yeah.
Saving the planet.
Wouldn't it be slug salesman? Where it gets really slimy?
Yeah. Get this special magical plant that can grow magical trees. I don't know, man. Like, but like, yeah, I just mean like, because I was thinking, okay, so imagine I was trying to sell people barbecues to people to have like a cool barbecue. Like, I don't really care about barbecues, but imagine like you had to do that. Then it kind of depends on the type of ethics that you have and the sales that you need to hit for your commission. Because if you're a nice salesman, I don't think you're really going to make that many sales. And I'm not saying it's right to do that, but then like when you need to put like bread on your table, food on your table, then you might start going towards that side, which I'm not saying is right, but it's like, that's where I think we get the idea of those cheesy salesmen. But then at the same time, in my experience in my life, I've seen proper salesmen like who get people into the gym. And then when I hear the things that they say and how they talk about it, I'm like, wow, this is cold. It's cutthroat. They're just like, find what they value or whatever and just manipulate them in the kind of like the dark side of it. And whereas I'm like, I don't think that's kind of the right way to do it. But then I guess to be a good salesman and sell something that someone doesn't want in the best way ever, you have to have a good form of sales ability to try and connect it to something that they want.
Right.
And I think that's the hard part in sales, because sometimes people come in wanting to buy something and they don't really fully know what they want. And so that's where you have to really be, not slimy and ask questions and give them options, because that was a hard thing for me to do in sales too. Is because like I don't want to sell from my own pocket, because everybody has their price range on what they might want to buy. They have their own agenda, but then it's really overcoming and figuring out what they want. 'Cause sometimes they really don't know what they want when they come in, but not pushing it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me like, what computer should I buy in the past, because I work in IT, so I must know what computers people should buy. But it's like, it really depends on like what your needs are, because some people just want to check their email and like go on Facebook, and you can use a Chromebook for that. Like, you don't need any sort of power. So it really depends. If you're gonna edit photos and video, you're gonna need something a lot more powerful.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a difference if you come to someone who has an expertise in it, like you do, Rob. But I know with me, like I've never been in sales, and I could never be in anything I've had to do in sales, because I think it's like, I see it with me with the FE and the SE. Like the SE is strong. I'm like, I think people should be who they want to be, and I just kind of like, I can't control them. I don't want to control them to try to make sure, like I want them, like the FESE, I want them to be who they want to be. And so to me, that just seems too controlling to like be in sales and to get them to my point of view. Yeah. But it does change if you're an expert in somebody comes and asks me, like, because I'm a CPA, so if someone comes and asks me what they should do with something with financial, I will tell them. But there are differences that way.
Actually, there's one thing I want to say to that, Jana, because actually, I think you would actually be a good like personal trainer, because in my industry at the same time, you don't, not to say that I'm the best or anything like that. There's people who don't really know a lot about PT and they still get clients in that. And the way you come across as a person, I can see a lot of people wanting to come to you because you're very good at connecting. So you don't necessarily particularly have to be a complete expert, but then I guess with the personal training side, sometimes people go for that connection to have someone there with them. So
yeah. Well, thanks. Actually, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was bringing up is that I don't do the sales, but like, so I'm a CPA, and so I don't bring in the clients, but all the clients have always loved me. And then like, I take care of them with the FE, and then we've got the SE, the double observing, and I do all the work. So I can have like all these like long-term clients who love me that way. Or like I'll be introduced when they are bringing in the clients. And so, yeah, it works that way, but I couldn't just go out and try to be like, you have to go, some people have to go to networking meetings and meet people and bring them in. Like I could never like do that. I would just kind of be like, yeah, exactly what you said. This is it. This is what I have to offer if you like it or not. But, I couldn't pressure people like that.
Yeah.
Could I ask a question? It might be a chance.
Of course. No, sure.
Okay. So what do you all think that SEFE play is bad at? Like, where do you think that this does not apply? Or where do you think?
That's good.
Like, what are the weaknesses of SF play, would you say?
I mean, I think you could hurt people with it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, weaknesses like where it doesn't perform well, I guess.
Well, just because you like something doesn't mean it works for you, I guess. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I kind of see it. So like, I guess I'm using my own examples. Someone tells me they're like a ketogenic type diet to lose weight, and they're sold on that, but how it's affecting their body and the lifestyle that they have, it just doesn't work for them. A normal diet would be better for them. But if I'm like, okay, I want to use my SFP to get into that, and I go with that, I may be diminishing the results that person gets. So that's my kind of way of, I think, answering your question.
That makes total sense. Yeah, it's kind of, it sounds like it's almost like a TE deficit, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't, you're good at finding the solution for yourself, but when you have to find it for someone else, and it's like,
Yeah, any kind of brainstorming where it's like, let's throw out ideas and try to solve this. Yeah. SF Play's not going to.
Right? It's like, just let me do it on my own.
And there's also the FI deficit.
How so, Uzair? How do you mean?
Just even like what we're talking about, right? We had like a little discussion of like, oh, when is sales slimy and when is it okay to do sales, right? This is we're crowdsourcing values, right? Like, what about this situation? Oh, this is how I feel about this situation, right?
I've got to go.
Samuel has to jump out, guys.
Cheers. Take care.
Thanks for being
Hi,
here.
Samuel.
Thank you. Have a fun time, guys.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Hi.
Okay. There we go.
Oh, now I'm all at the bottom by myself. Finally.
Where is it?
That's what you wanted.
Wait,
Right?
you're getting
Is that
voted out.
better? Oh, that's bad. That's terrible. Let's go back to that.
That's not that bad. Okay.
That's good.
What was I saying? Oh, so instead of like crowdsourcing values of like of what is okay to do, I think the flip side, the FI or the SIFI is just like, no, this is just what I do. You know what I mean? And there's like where that's been cultivated, and you just have a sense of like right or wrong. I'm always open to like, if someone was like, I frequently ping my friends or family about like, oh, what do you think? What do you think about this situation? Like, what do you think about this situation? Is this cool? What would you do in this situation? Right? Like, I think that's part of SF play, because you're not narrowing down on the value of like what is right or wrong, like from me. I'm always kind of leaving it open to kind of see like what someone else thinks, and then I'll be movable on that side. I don't know if you guys relate to that.
Totally. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it might be like we said, the FE versus the TE, because even though TI is last for me, like I don't want to be told what to do. Like I might want to get some information, but sometimes the TEs can be like, this is what you need to do, and I don't want to be told what to do. It's that TI in me. Like I want to like see stuff. So I think like, or what Samuel was saying about what kind of diet to do. Like I don't want to tell people what to do because I don't want to be told what to do. So I think probably that would be, some things need to be told what to do. Maybe that would be it, like the TE versus the FE. Yeah.
Also, like getting things done and being useful to the tribe in a way, like doing things for them, like making the thing work for them. If you're just focusing on making the vibe work, you're missing on like a bunch of usefulness, right?
Totally. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so going back to Dave's question, like I think of SF play as like the absence of NT sleep. Basically, it's like the total opposite, where you're not doing any of that long-term planning, you're not doing the solutioning, you're just trying to like see what people value and what directions we might be able to go in based on that. So it's like trying to gather enough so that I know what a good direction is, or what kind of solution we might need.
So how do you guys see the interplay between NT sleep and SF play? Do you see them having anything to do with each other? Someone asked that question. That's fine.
Yeah.
Bringing it from.
Well, I think like when you have to NT, you have to go in to your sleep. So you can't like, or at least like, I don't feel like I can NT in real time. Especially with work, I'm in IT as well, and I have to give these trainings, and people have to do these exercises and the programming assignments, and it's hard for me to troubleshoot with them in real time. I'm like, okay, just can you shut up for a second? Let me just. Like, Dave, are you there? Good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Change this line here, but I have to do that. I can't like talk to you and do that. So I just can't. You have to go at like full introvert, I feel like, to do the NT stuff.
But do you ever get stuck though on something that you're trying to NT and you're like, okay, I need to go to the people or the sensory or something to get some kind of something? Or
no, I try to not go to the people. I think that's just me being decided. But it'd be like, okay, there's one little gap you're missing. Okay, let me Google that.
Right.
And then if I happen to know some expert on the topic, then okay, I might go ask this dude. But I hate doing that for some reason. I usually Google why.
It's probably consume over play then, because for me, if I know someone that knows it, I'm gonna want to go to them first, because I can just bug them and then I don't have to go do the consume. Right? It's like, okay, they know. All right, now I know. But a lot of times I will. It's like, okay, I don't want to bother them right now or whatever. But
Yeah, I always feel like, well, not always, but I kind of feel like I'm bothered. Either I feel like I'm bothering them, or I feel like they're not going to know. That's probably isn't very charitable to them. But I think using play the way you're using it just seems so much more efficient. I wish like that I would do that. Like if I'm at a grocery store and I can't find something, I'm going to search for like 30 minutes before I finally ask somebody where the damn thing is. And that's so stupid because it would take like so much less time. But like, I don't want to go ask somebody for this shit. So it's weird because I'm apparently play savior, but like with the decider issues, make that play not as.
Oh wow! Right.
But I think I do the same thing.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Nora.
No, I was just going to say, like, the double masculine, I think, play would be like, this person, who's the nearest person that looks like they have the answers. Like, if you're in a mall, just ask the person. Or if you're in a shop, I guess, ask the person who's working there. But if you're a decider, maybe it's different.
Yeah.
I'd say I relate to the decider side of things where I'm going to look for it myself rather than ask someone. But it might be my double masculine consume, double masculine savior. So I want to be very self-sufficient. Yeah.
See, I do the same things too. Like, even though with me being played first, like, I won't ask people things. Like, I'll want to figure it out myself. I'll be in the grocery store. I won't ask people. Like, I want to do that at the last thing. And it's even weird. Like, even when because I typed myself as sleep savior, but I'm obviously play savior. But even like when I joined OP last year, I was in the Facebook groups. Like, I didn't say anything for months, and I would just like. I read all this stuff, but I wouldn't ask questions. Like, I still won't ask questions. I have a thing like, even when I was trying to figure out my type, I was in it for 7 months before, like, I would like only ask a couple questions, which, the DE is supposed to ask questions, but I won't ask questions. So I want to kind of figure it out myself. And maybe it is the decider thing, because it doesn't sound like what people think would be play, that I should be asking questions, because I won't.
Could be masculine TI.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the type of questions, right? Because some of those questions might be revealing like a demon TI thing. I kind of get that. It's like, oh, I need to figure this out for myself.
I think that's probably it. It's probably the demon TI thing. I don't want to ask something like, okay, first of all, I should have SE it, or I should know it. That's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I should always know something, so I won't ask the question.
One thing with the demon sensory, that's why I'm asking people questions, because I don't want to spend all this time in a store looking for something. I want to get out and have to stop taking in all this sensory. So like, I'm going to ask somebody, I'll go first to see where I think it is. And I'll be like, okay, it's not where I thought, like the pattern, it's like, no, that's not right. Yeah. Let me just ask someone, because then I can get out of here faster.
Yeah, it's also the responsibility to gather, right? Like, so that's just part of it. I should go find this for myself. Why am I bothering other people?
Yeah.
So
it's funny, at a store I would ask, because it's just like it's a fun way to get social interaction, I guess. I always like it, like when you ask, like
that's what they're there for.
Oh, where's this?
They want to help.
And they'll tell you about
it.
And you're like, oh yeah, you should get this one, or you should like.
Not everybody.
I was like, it depends on where you shop, right? If you're like shopping at, like you said, like certain stores are really good. Like if you guys have a Trader Joe's by you, like they're really helpful, and they'll like be, they have good vibes, Then I also relate not asking sometimes, right? Because there's also like because I know I'm like really gonna like let's say if I ask someone for something who I come across regularly, right? And they give me an answer, I'll be like, oh yeah, for sure, I'll do that. But I'm not gonna do that, And so like when I see them again, they'll be like, oh, did you do the thing? Like then I'll feel obligated to either do it or like lie or like, what I mean? So that's a reason I don't ask sometimes, because I'll feel obligated to the answer.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot, Uzair, because that's what happens, is why I don't like asking questions to people, because I want to get like the SE from people or the FE, and like I want to get a lot of different options. But people think that if you ask them a question, that you have to do it that way, and they will say that, like, why didn't you do it that way? I'm like, I'm just getting options. I just want to know all the SE on it, and then I get mad. They get mad at me, and I get mad at them. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I definitely feel that.
I think the other thing for me, I don't like to ask, is because I want to avoid an interaction where I have to expend energy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
It does feel draining to some degree. I don't know why. Like, you're literally just walking to someone and saying, hey, do you know where this is? nothing draining about that, but somehow it like you don't want to do it. You're like, oh, it's exhausting, man.
Yeah, I feel totally
So
fine
fun.
doing it as long as I'm like secure in my TI that it's like, oh, it's whatever. Like this is not a big deal. I don't know.
I'm just
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at some questions here, guys.
Um,
Go ahead, Uzair.
Oh, I can continue to talk about NT versus SF. Like
Oh.
what Dave, what you were saying, I kind of experienced like that, except the opposite. I'll know exactly what I think immediately, and I'll be like, oh man, how do I pretend to be open-minded for the next 15 seconds? Yeah,
Yeah.
and I see play as that. Like I see play like in other people as being just like open-minded of like, oh, I ask a question, like, oh, how do you feel about it? And I've had to kind of like dial back me not doing that, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
on the
think so.
opposite. Oh,
I was
This
gonna
is
say I
just-
do that
oh.
too. Okay, sorry.
So-
I was just gonna say I do the same thing too. Like but I know what I want a lot of times and what I think, but I want to get more information. So that's why so even though it seems like I'm open-minded with what other people want to do and have that spectrum, but I still want to get like the other information, even though I know, and I might not tell people. A lot of times I won't tell people what I think, but
Yeah,
I get that.
Michelle.
Michelle.
Well, I was gonna add, just this is random, but every time I go into a store, it seems like someone's always coming and asking me for help,
Oh, wow.
and it's so weird. Yeah, I'll be in
I'm like, I don't
Ulta.
work
It's like,
here. What the fuck?
right? Yeah, I don't. But I've been like in what is it, Total Wine, in Target, in Ulta, and people will come up to me and ask me questions. Food Lion. It's like,
Oh, wow.
okay, I don't know
Sometimes
what.
I
Do you
answer
just
'cause I
help them?
know, you know?
Yeah, I do. I do end
You
up
help
helping.
them?
I'm like, yeah, this is over here because I guess I've consumed enough, right? I know everything is in the store,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh, wow.
You just look like you
That
know what's
makes me-
going on.
I guess I don't
I
know.
have a question.
You're like,
based off
maybe we have
of
some in the
that.
back.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you say something, Nora? You had a question?
I'll have a good question based off of that. Like, do you guys find that when you're at restaurants and oh, is this good, that you'll be like really happy to explain why this is an amazing place, and like I've had colleagues be like, why you're selling this to me? I'm like, what? Do you work for them? You didn't get a cut? I'm like, no, it's just really good. Like, go there, have fun. Do you guys do that?
Well, what about ordering at a restaurant? I will never order at a restaurant without asking the waitstaff what is good, because
Oh,
they
wow.
know, they've been there, you know.
Exactly.
And it always works
I don't
out,
do-
right?
I don't
Like
do
that's
any of
such
that.
a winning strategy to ask the waiter, what's
Yeah.
good here, or like especially with drinks, like which beer do you recommend? Well, what kind of beer do you
Yeah.
like? No, don't ask me what I like. Tell me which one you drink, and
Plus
it's
they're
always
demon
good.
FI, right?
It's always good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You got to watch
And
out for the
sometimes they'll
demon FI
defer.
waiter, though.
Yes.
Oh, and they're like, what do I like? Well, people
They're like,
usually
oh,
like
people
this
usually get. I'm like, I don't care what people usually get. What do you like? You know.
Right. Yeah, I don't do that.
It's rare if I do that.
I've started doing it more, but
But do you guys sell people on things like when you're anywhere?
Yeah.
Or like,
I think I kind of touched on this like a little while ago when we were talking about it, but just like what you said, like if you're really excited about something, you just start blabbering about it and, it's so cool, they have this and this. Like, are you trying to sell me on it? Like, no, my enthusiasm is bubbling out, and I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just telling you what I think about it. You know? So yeah, I definitely do the same thing.
If I like a restaurant, I'll play it down. I'll still want my friends to go, but I'm not. If I sell them on it and then they don't like it, I feel like that makes
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then
do
I'll
that too.
resent them for
Yeah.
it. It's just like it's not good, you know.
yeah, they're just wrong if they don't like it, though. So
And you have to get new friends, and it's just like a pain in the ass, you know.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the questions we got is, what's the most SF thing you've ever done? That was from Ian. You guys have
It's right here.
anything you could? This right here? Oh, wow. That's sad, Uzair. You got anything?
The most SF thing. Well, I don't know if this is the most SF. This is the first thing that comes to mind. I'm doing a surprise trip for my girlfriend, and
Oh,
so I'm like finding out what I'm not telling. She knows that there's a surprise, so she might be watching this. She's not spoiling anything, but I'm trying to figure out what she likes, and I'm trying to like look at all the sensory spots in Europe where we should go. Like, okay, she likes hot weather, she likes the beach, doesn't like a lot of tourism, hotels aren't a big thing, so maybe she wants blah blah blah, all of that, and then I'm trying to find like the best spot for her, and then have it be a surprise and have it make her happy, right? That's the most SF thing.
Surprise. Make sure you hide this from her.
No, she knows it's a surprise, but she doesn't know where.
Oh,
And I haven't revealed it.
okay.
Yeah.
Have you narrowed it down yet?
I do. I've got it.
Okay.
Pat.
Nice.
It was so bad. It took a lot of consume. I was like almost dead afterwards. I know, and I can, consume a lot. So it was, yeah. I think I found a good one. I've narrowed it down. Okay, there's no way this goes wrong unless everything goes wrong. This is so we'll see.
Right. Yeah. Cool. That's good. I don't think we can beat that. I can't.
Oh, you can totally beat that.
really
That's
good.
not that great. Come on. The FE Saviors, I'm sure you all have done some amazing.
Well, so it's weird because I don't feel like I'm building up to it. It's like where I start. So it's not like I'm building up to some like big SF thing. So it's hard to say like what's like the most SF thing I've done. Like maybe my website is because it's just like covered in like pictures and doodles and shit.
Maybe we can narrow down the question a bit more too. I feel like it's a bit open. Like, what do we mean by SF? I think in this context.
I think it's what is the coolest thing you've ever done?
What's the
You just
coolest-
turned it into a philosophical question.
What's the coolest thing you've ever done?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, let's stick with that. What's the coolest thing you've ever done? What's the coolest thing where people be like, "Whoa, bro!" Like that's like what's the most SE thing you've ever done that other people would think is cool? But maybe that's a good way.
I don't. The thing I've done is not cool to cool people. It would be cool to nerds, maybe. Is I cosplay sometimes as Wolverine.
Dude, that's super badass.
Old man Logan.
Like that. That's
So, like, I started going to Comic Cons with my niece, and she was dressing up as Spider-Man. And one year, I was like, I should do Wolverine. It would be a surprise to her. She would like. I was doing it for her because, like, to me, I'm like, I don't want to dress. In
Previously,
costume.
you were going as Uncle Ben.
I was Uncle Ben, exactly. She calls us Uncle Ben, so that's a whole thing. But so it's like I did it the first time, and like people were coming up, they wanted to take pictures with me. Little kids were like, "Can I get your autograph and stuff?" And I'm like, "This is kind of cool." Like interacting with people, and it's not really like they want to interact with the costume, not really me. So as someone with social anxiety, it was like, this is kind of cool because I can have fun, and it's like I'm somebody else. I'm acting or whatever. So I ended up doing it a bunch of times. I haven't done it for a little bit, but that's kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of nerdy, but it's fun.
That's awesome. Super SF. Yeah, I've always wanted to do that actually, but I've like, do I have the patience to actually do like a good costume? I don't even know how to do that.
Nerdy
It's
is
a
cool
pain.
now, Kevin. So you're good.
Yeah, nerdy is cool. Yeah, nerdy's in. As of
Finally, it took forever.
Kevin,
It's
post
also
the
peacocking
picture.
your
It didn't
opposite.
Yeah,
It's all on his Facebook.
it's on my Facebook. Yeah, there's some Facebook pictures in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
Cool.
the other thing is, as a kid, I was into magic. Like I'm almost the same type as Darren Brown. It's like one click off. And I was like, I would always go to the toy store and find like where all the shelf that had all the magic tricks. I'd buy them, learn the tricks, and then perform them for like my friends and family and stuff. And it's like you can see that their chemicals are moved when they're surprised by the trick. They don't see what you did. That's kind of SF in a little bit, because it's like you're using sensory and you're moving people's feelings, and they're getting something out of the experience. It's very nerdy, but magic. I get the magic thing. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, and they look super cool when they do it. Like when you see the professionals, like, see this?
Yeah. So cool.
Is this your card? Whoa, how did you do that?
That's very cool.
I
Yeah.
wish I-
Do you guys like knowing the trick, or do you just like watching?
Both. I wanted to know the tricks as a kid. It was like I gotta figure out. I want to be a magician because that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I just like observing, like, oh, maybe magic is real. Like,
I get that. It's fun though.
It's like when you do see the trick, though, you're actually kind of disappointed. Like, really, that's all you did? Like, oh god, I thought it was
exactly.
a lot more intricate. With
No.
this. You just have the card pinched between your fingers.
The ST behind the NF.
Yes. You ruined it, ST.
It's still cool. I still like it when I know. It makes it more fun because it's like, oh, you just do that simple little thing and fool a lot of people. That's pretty cool.
Like the simplicity of it is, something to value.
What about anyone else? Anything?
Yeah, well, I guess it's kind of more in general because like I love traveling. I've gone to most of the states and a lot of countries, but also travel by myself. And it's like I guess that's a lot of the SE in me. So like one time I remember I flew out to Colorado, and I realized after I got to Colorado, I hadn't told anybody I was even going to Colorado. And so I'm just in the car driving around, and there was a lot of freedom on that. So that was a lot of fun. So I've done that kind of a lot with I think that's the SF play for me is like traveling. I'm going to travel everywhere in the world. And, the last couple of years, obviously couldn't travel. So it's kind of hurting me like that. But that was where my SF play shows up a lot.
So far, everyone's cool example has like somehow had their demon involved. Like for me, it was helping someone. Kevin is like is SE tricks. And then for Jana, it's doing like, something on your own and doing your own thing. And I wonder if it's the same for the rest of you, or maybe I shouldn't have said that yet. I waited till the pattern.
Yeah, you ruined it. I was gonna do that, but now I'm not.
Damn.
The coolest thing I've ever done is NT sleep.
That's pretty cool.
In high school, I was asked to do something for like advertising a book called Killer Pizza. So there's like a video of me like acting in this thing, or I don't have to say anything, but it's just like a music video. So that's like a unique experience that I had in high school, where
Nice.
I totally look nerdy, but so I don't know how SF it really is. So maybe it is
Apparently,
NT after all, Dave.
actually has a nerdy
Yeah.
root to it somehow. Yeah.
I like it.
The TI's behind it all, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone else? You wanna?
I guess I also have cosplayed.
Oh, yeah.
Animations, yeah.
Oh, cool.
But I think I always have to like base what is SF, because I don't feel like I have I guess I do understand, but I'm not sure. So I have to base it off of other people's reactions. So the biggest thing that I hear from other people that they think is interesting is that I play in two bands. Well, since COVID started, I haven't been playing in it, but I play in the Little German Band, which is Oktoberfest experience. We dress up in the lederhosen and dirndl, and we do the polka waltzes.
Nice.
I don't know if that's necessarily, for some people, they think it's kind of corny or whatnot, but it's a lot of fun. But
That's very cool.
I play
That's cool.
trombone. Yeah.
Nice. Oh wow.
So I do the plottling and everything, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oktoberfest is amazing. It's so much
It is.
fun. Celebration.
I'm gonna pretend I know what plottling is.
It's when you usually see the guys like jumping and slapping their leg. It's a very kinesthetic kind of dance where they slap their leg and foot and jump. And it's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? Or can I ask that?
Yeah. So I'm half German. My mother's German.
Okay.
I lived in Bavaria for 13 years before
wow.
I came to the US. So yeah,
Wow. Cool.
Nice.
a part of the culture.
That's how you know about all the Oktoberfest culture then. Whereas most Americans
Exactly.
think that that's German culture, the dirndls and all that. But
Yeah,
Bavarian.
Bavarian.
it is. Yeah. Bayern. Yep.
Bayern.
Yep.
All right, guys. Let's do one more question here. We might not want to answer this, but it's what SF insights do you have into the OP community? Could we get in trouble if we said anything, or do we have anything?
We've been nice enough during this podcast. I think we should
Kick their ass?
Who has the masculine Effie? You can start.
I don't even know.
Nora's a lurker.
Feminine TI. No.
Well, like, what does that mean? Like, it's from
I feel
Ian.
like
Like, what's cool, or
I
yeah,
can start with an
what-
easy one to get us started. I think the
What is
SF,
the coolest type?
the community, apparently NI and TI are the most valuable functions to people. As far as the popularity game, for some reason, those two, I didn't really understand this myself, but apparently those are the cool, or those are the highly prized, sought after functions.
Uzair.
Everyone apparently is typing themselves as NITI. So basically, Uzair. Everyone wants to be Uzair.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to like do the PR for 2 years.
you need to sell it better. There you go.
When I joined, people didn't like TI, and I've been really trying to push it and like try
You
not to
got there.
argue. And it's been a long road. No, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I just mean like about what, like, yeah, what the most valuable functions are. I have seen that like NI, INFJ is like the popular one now because it's like, oh, that's the super introverted one. That's definitely me. I'm so introspective. So like that's I made a article recently about like the potential biases for mistyping, and the introversion bias is definitely one of them that you see in the community a lot, where it's like, oh, I'm thinking about my inner thoughts right now because I'm looking at typology, so
Yeah.
this must all be introverted, but all the functions are really in your head, right? So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
we didn't
you
really
see
talk
your
about the
introversion
SF
more
play
in
in your
the-
head. I don't know if you guys want to hit on that at some point, but
Yeah, like I actually did think I was NITI, you know, sleep consume blast. So you know, from the most introverted to the least to the most, and I really did think that. But a couple of things were, as I didn't. First of all, sometimes you don't see your saviors. Like the FE is so natural to me. Like I didn't see it. I knew I had the stack, but I just didn't see it in my stack, and I didn't see the SE. So it's like wanting to have those demons and. But I also thought that it's the same thing about thinking of it in my head, because I would think about a lot of the stuff all the time. And, you know, but I was really play blasting it in my head. And now I see stuff, now I see it all the time where I think I'm doing NITI, but it's really like I am talking to myself in my head, or I'm talking to other people, and I'm not getting to that point. And that's what Shan helped me to see on the phone call. Like I'm not processing it. You know, so I think that's how the play shows up in their head. And also now I'm really glad I'm not. I can see that I'm not NITI. I'm really glad to have FESC because, but I don't know why. I guess it's like the whole MBTI thinks the intuitives are so cool, and it's just kind of carried over onto that. And you know, I guess all of our functions have a benefit, and we all have like disadvantages to it. So to think like if people can just get that out of their head that they don't, you know, everyone has a benefit to it on that way.
yeah, I was also thinking about the intuition bias in terms of like people come into MBTI and they know that they like see things in the world, but they're not like thinking about the intuition side. So if somebody says, oh, and they're like, oh yeah, I do connect patterns, so that must be me. So that's another one of those things where, sorry, you start thinking about this stuff and you're like, oh, I'm seeing that I'm doing that now, so that's me. So that's another way that you can get kind of confused.
Right.
But yeah, I did that too.
I did it too. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
it, guys. We talked about wrapping this up here an hour and 30. I know I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Is that cool? You guys, we got anything else you want to say at the end here? Anything you want to
Someone say
add?
at least one mean thing. I feel like I was waiting for someone to say to talk at least some sort of shit about the OPS community. But I don't know. Maybe that's.
You gotta share the TI. You gotta share the FI also.
I can't do it. Maybe Nora.
Okay, you don't have to. I
Anything?
thought.
I think
Nothing?
Nora's got to do it. You got to channel your blast.
No.
Something negative in the SF?
Something spicy, you know?
Something spicy. I don't know. I feel like,
Trying to
I
get you
guess
in
being
trouble.
in the group since 2018, all I've seen is like a wave of like the popular people come and go, and realizing that like once people kind of get busy in their life, they like dip out, and then seeing like people who are overly posting, they tend to be sort of like sleep losts. I don't know. I'm giving you sensory. I'm not like, I don't know. I'm just like, I guess they're posting a lot because they need to process. They need to sleep process with the tribe, but then they realize they have to go do that on their own to really do the sleep. That's just one thing I've noticed, and it's not really a negative thing. It's just a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. It's true. Like, yeah, we have even like we spoke about the popular ones. I feel like there is like a cool kids group within the.
Yeah, 100%. At the moment,
Well, I don't know
like it's
necessarily
the
who's in that group, but I feel like there is.
NTJ Quadra. For now.
The what?
For now, I feel like it's the NTJ SFP Quadra, like
yeah.
the TE tribe. There's a big TE group now, and it's like it's really nice to see. And I feel like they're doing more of the FE, so I'm like, okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the Discord for a while, and there was a lot of FI on there, so it was a lot of ESFPs and NTJs, as you said. But it's starting to get some more FE in there. Last night I saw, so that's great.
Yeah.
Win for us.
Right.
Turn the tide.
Our tribe is winning.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up here then, guys. Thanks for being here with me and helping me understand SF a little bit better, SF play. And I guess that's it. Take care, guys. If you guys want to stay in. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Kevin.
Bye,
Bye.
audience. Yep.